They are everywhere, hidden in plain sight, on dollar bills, corporate logos, even the buildings you pass every day. Ancient symbols that were never meant for public eyes, now controlling the world's most powerful institutions. But here's what they don't want you to know. These aren't just decorations. Each one tells a story. Each one holds power. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at reality the same way again.
Sigil of Lucifer, also known as the Seal of Satan. This symbol originates from the 18th century Grimorium Verum, meaning the true grimoire, a key text in demonic summoning. It consists of several parts, an inverted V at the bottom representing duality, male and female, light and dark, a chalice shape symbolizing creation, and an X through the center representing power and the crossroads between worlds. The complete form resembles a chalice turned into a weapon. In ceremonial magic, this sigil is used to summon and bind Lucifer himself, not for worship but for command. Practitioners draw it at 3 a.m., the inverse of Christ's death hour, in locations where violence occurred. Crossroads, murder sites, battlefields, places where blood soaked into earth. The ritual requires the summoner to stand inside a protective circle while the sigil is drawn outside it, creating a geometric prison. If the binding works, Lucifer must grant one request. If it fails, the Grimoires describe practitioners found dead with their eyes burned out from the inside, as if they saw something human minds cannot process. The Grimorium Verum warns that Lucifer answers the summons but tests the summoner's will continuously throughout the ritual. Any moment of doubt, any flicker of fear, any break in concentration, and the geometric binding collapses. What happens next is described in the text as the summoner becomes a doorway that cannot close, meaning Lucifer doesn't possess the body, he uses it as a permanent gateway, and the original consciousness is pushed into a corner of its own mind, forced to watch as something else operates their flesh. Modern Luciferians use this sigil differently, viewing it as a symbol of enlightenment and rebellion against tyrannical authority. But the original grimoire's purpose was purely transactional. You summon, you bind, you demand, you release, and if any step fails, you don't survive the encounter.
Seal of Baphomet. This symbol features an inverted pentagram with a goat's head placed inside it, two horns pointing upward at the top 2 points of the star, ears at the side points, and a beard at the bottom point. Often, the Hebrew letters spelling Leviathan encircle the pentagram. This design was created by French occultist Eliphas Lévi in 1854 and later adopted as the official emblem of the Church of Satan. The inverted pentagram represents the prioritization of earthly, material existence over spiritual aspirations. The 2 points reaching upwards symbolize horns, physical power, animal instinct, dominance through flesh rather than spirit. The goat head represents Baphomet, a hermaphroditic entity that the Knights Templar were accused of worshipping in the 14th century before their mass execution. Baphomet embodies perfect balance between opposites, male and female, human and animal, mercy and cruelty, creation and destruction, all merged into one consciousness. In occult practice, the Seal of Baphomet is used in rituals designed to dissolve moral boundaries. Practitioners report that working with this seal creates a psychological state where guilt, shame, and ethical considerations simply stop functioning. It's not that they choose to do wrong. It's that the concepts of right and wrong become meaningless, like trying to feel guilty in a language you no longer understand. The seal essentially rewrites the practitioner's moral operating system, replacing it with pure will and desire, unconstrained by human ethics. Historical records from witch trials document accused individuals who displayed this exact psychological profile after being found with Baphomet imagery. They would confess to acts that should have provoked horror or remorse, but they described their actions with complete emotional neutrality, as if reporting the weather. Inquisitors noted that torture didn't work on these individuals because pain didn't connect to fear anymore. Their psychological wiring had been fundamentally altered, and the Church's conclusion was that they were no longer fully human. They had become something else.
Leviathan Cross, also called the Satanic Cross or the alchemical symbol for sulfur. This symbol consists of a double cross, two horizontal bars instead of one, with an infinity symbol placed at the bottom. It was adopted by the Church of Satan and appears prominently in Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible. The double cross represents balance between two opposing forces, the material and spiritual, the self and the other, the mortal and the eternal. The infinity symbol at the bottom signifies eternal existence, the unending cycle of the universe, chaos that never resolves into order. In alchemical tradition, sulfur, especially black sulfur, represents the element of the soul, the combustible part of human consciousness, the part that burns with desire, ambition, and will. Sulfur was historically associated with hellfire and demonic presence because of its smell and the way it burns. In ritual use, the Leviathan Cross is drawn to invoke partnership with primordial chaos. Practitioners don't seek to control chaos, they acknowledge it as the fundamental nature of reality, and they request to ride its currents rather than be drowned by them. The Grimoires describe this as becoming a chaos node, where the practitioner's desires begin manifesting, but in corrupted, twisted forms. You want wealth? You get it through a relative's death and inheritance. You want love? Someone becomes obsessed with you to the point of destroying both your lives. You want power? You get it, but lose everything that made you want it in the first place. Practitioners working with the Leviathan Cross report a phenomenon called synchronistic collapse, where meaningful coincidences stop aligning in their favor and start happening in disturbing patterns. Numbers repeat in unsettling ways. Dreams begin predicting events, but slightly wrong. Conversations feel scripted, and reality takes on a quality described as glitching, like the universe's code is corrupting around them. The cross doesn't cause chaos, it reveals that order was always an illusion, and once you see through that illusion, you can't unsee it.
Sigil of Lilith. This symbol resembles a chalice or an inverted omega with a crescent moon above it. The chalice represents the womb, feminine creative power, the source of life. The crescent moon symbolizes lunar cycles, hidden feminine knowledge, and the dark phase of the goddess. Some versions include additional markings that spell Lilith's name in Theban script, an alphabet popular among early occultists and Wiccans. Lilith, according to Jewish mysticism and ancient Mesopotamian texts, was Adam's first wife, created equal to him from the same earth. When she refused to submit to Adam's authority, demanding to be treated as an equal, she was cast out of Eden and transformed into the first demon, the mother of monsters, the night hag who strangles infants and seduces sleeping men in their dreams. Medieval texts describe her as having a woman's face and a serpent's body, beautiful and terrifying simultaneously. In modern occult practice, the Sigil of Lilith is used to invoke radical independence and the destruction of social masks. Practitioners draw this sigil when they want to stop performing for others, when they want to strip away every learned behavior, every social adaptation, every personality modification they've adopted to be acceptable. The sigil doesn't grant power, it removes your ability to pretend. Within days of activating it, practitioners report that they begin saying what they actually think, expressing what they actually feel, and behaving according to their true nature. And this destroys most of their relationships because people were connected to the mask, not the person underneath. The Grimoires warn that Lilith's gift is irreversible. Once she strips away your social programming, you can't put it back on. You'll watch friendships dissolve because you can't fake interest anymore. You'll lose jobs because you can't perform enthusiasm. You'll isolate because authenticity repels people who live through performance. The sigil promises freedom, and it delivers, but freedom from social bonds often means freedom into isolation, and Lilith doesn't warn you which you'll get.
Seal of Belial. This symbol appears in the Lesser Key of Solomon and consists of simple geometric shapes, a square, a triangle, and specific arrangements of lines and dots. The simplicity is intentional. These shapes mean nothing inherently. They only have power because someone decided they do, which perfectly embodies Belial's philosophy. Belial, whose name means worthless or without value, is described in demonology as the demon of lies and nihilism. He doesn't tempt with pleasures or punishments, he tempts with truth, specifically the truth that nothing has inherent meaning. All value is assigned by human interpretation, and those assignments are arbitrary. The seal's geometric simplicity demonstrates this. It's just shapes until you decide it's powerful, just like everything else in your life is just stuff until you decide it matters. When invoked, Belial creates a psychological state called the void of assessment, where every goal you've been working toward suddenly feels hollow. Career success feels pointless, relationships feel performative, achievements feel empty. Not because something went wrong, but because you suddenly see that the importance you assigned to these things was made up. You invented the meaning, and now you can't believe in your own invention anymore. The seal forces you to recognize that you're the author of your own value system, which sounds empowering until you realize it means nothing is inherently worth doing. You have to consciously choose meaning every day for everything, and that's exhausting. Practitioners of Belial's magic report a strange paradox. They become extremely successful by external measures, advancing in careers, accumulating wealth, achieving status, but they describe it as piloting a robot, going through motions that produce results but don't register as meaningful internally. They're aware they're succeeding, aware they should feel satisfied, but the part of them that generates satisfaction has been disconnected. The Grimoires describe this as Belial's ultimate joke. He gives you everything you thought you wanted, then makes you incapable of wanting it, proving that desire itself was the only thing that mattered, not the objects of desire.
Sigil of Asmodeus. This symbol features a triangle with 3 internal lines and specific markings resembling claws or flames. The triangle represents fire, the element of transformation and consumption. The 3 lines symbolize the 3 forms of lust that Asmodeus governs: physical desire, emotional obsession, and spiritual yearning, all burning simultaneously, feeding each other, creating an unquenchable flame. Asmodeus is described in the Lesser Key of Solomon as the demon king of lust, but medieval grimoires clarify that his domain isn't just sexual desire, it's overwhelming want of any kind, the state where desire overrides reason, ethics, consequences. Everything burns away except the need to possess. His name derives from the Persian demon Ayeshma-Deva, the fiend of wrath, linking excessive desire with rage, the fury of unfulfilled wanting. In ritual use, the Sigil of Asmodeus is drawn when a practitioner wants something so badly they're willing to sacrifice everything else to get it. The seal doesn't grant wishes, it removes psychological barriers that normally prevent all-consuming obsession. Specifically, it deactivates the part of the brain that processes the word no, that accepts rejection, that respects boundaries, that recognizes when pursuit becomes destructive. Practitioners report that after invoking this seal, they become incapable of letting go, incapable of moving on, incapable of accepting that something or someone is unavailable. The Grimoires warn that Asmodeus's gift is a curse disguised as empowerment. You'll pursue your target with absolute focus, burning through money, relationships, reputation, health, everything to get what you want. And if you succeed, if you actually obtain the object of your desire, the wanting doesn't stop. It transfers to something else immediately, because the seal didn't amplify your desire for a specific thing, it amplified your capacity for desire itself, permanently. Practitioners describe it as becoming a black hole of wanting, where nothing fills the void. Everything you consume just makes the hunger bigger, and there's no ritual of reversal, no way to deactivate it once it's been activated.
Seal of Paimon. This symbol appears in the Ars Goetia, one of the 5 books of the Lesser Key of Solomon, and features complex overlapping circles, precise angles, and a key-like geometric pattern. The overlapping circles represent infinite knowledge, all information accessible simultaneously. The angles are pathways, direct routes to understanding that bypass normal learning, memory, and comprehension. Paimon is described as one of the 8 demon kings of hell, commanding 200 legions of demons, and he appears riding a camel, preceded by musicians playing loud instruments to announce his arrival. The Grimoires state that Paimon knows all arts, sciences, and secret things. He can teach any knowledge instantly, and he can reveal the past and future. His primary attribute is that he gives true answers concerning all worldly matters, but the answers are complete, comprehensive, and overwhelming. When invoked using his seal, Paimon doesn't teach knowledge gradually. He downloads it directly into the practitioner's consciousness, complete with full context, every related fact, every implication, every connected piece of information, all arriving simultaneously. Human brains aren't designed to receive information this way. Practitioners describe it as knowing things I never learned and can't unknow, understanding concepts so completely that they can't experience anything simply anymore. Every conversation has too many layers, every choice has too many implications, every situation reveals too many patterns. The Ars Goetia warns that Paimon is generous but indifferent to whether humans can handle what he gives. If you ask a question, he'll answer it completely, which means he'll also explain why your question was flawed, what you should have asked instead, and the implications of all related questions you didn't think to ask. Practitioners report paralysis by too many right answers, becoming unable to make decisions because they see all possible outcomes simultaneously, understand all consequences, and recognize that every choice destroys other possibilities. The knowledge doesn't empower them, it freezes them. They become too aware to act. Modern interest in Paimon spiked after the 2018 horror film Hereditary featured him as the primary demon. Occult communities documented a wave of attempted invocations by young practitioners who wanted his knowledge. The Grimoires had warned that Paimon doesn't possess the body, he possesses the cognitive architecture, rewrites how the brain processes information, and there's no exorcism for that, because the demon isn't in you, the demon is you now. Your mind works according to his patterns, forever.
Sigil of Beelzebub, the Lord of Flies. This symbol resembles a stylized fly with compound eyes made of circles, segmented body made of geometric lines, and wings represented by curved shapes. The fly isn't decorative, it's symbolic. Flies don't cause death, they arrive after death has already begun. They're drawn to decay, they feed on rot. They're the revelation that decomposition is happening. Beelzebub, whose name translates to Lord of the Flies from the Hebrew Baal-Zebub, is described in demonology as the demon of gluttony, decay, and pestilence. Older texts connect him to Baal-Zebul, Lord of the High Place, suggesting he was once a deity of considerable power before being demonized. The Grimoires describe him as second only to Lucifer in the hierarchy of hell, and his specific domain is corruption, not dramatic destruction, but patient rot, the slow collapse of structure into chaos. In ritual practice, the Sigil of Beelzebub is drawn when a practitioner wants to destroy something that won't die normally, a reputation, an institution, an enemy, something too protected or powerful to attack directly. The seal doesn't create problems, it reveals and accelerates decay that's already happening. Every flaw becomes a fracture point, every weakness becomes terminal. The seal amplifies existing vulnerabilities until they collapse the entire structure. Practitioners report that working with Beelzebub is viscerally disturbing. They describe watching targets deteriorate slowly, losing dignity before losing function, reputation rotting before the person realizes they're being destroyed. It's not clean, it's not quick, it's intimate and humiliating. And the seal forces the practitioner to witness all of it, as if Beelzebub wants them to understand exactly what they're doing, not as abstract magic, but as observed decomposition. The Grimoires describe this as composting enemies, transformation through decay, breaking them down into component parts that will feed something else. The most disturbing effect reported by long-term practitioners is that they begin seeing decay everywhere, in their own lives, their surroundings, their relationships, not causing it, but perceiving it, becoming hyper-aware that everything is always rotting, always transitioning, and they describe this as simultaneously horrifying and peaceful. Fear of loss diminishes because they've internalized the truth of impermanence so deeply that nothing surprises them anymore. Everything was always going to rot eventually. They're just conscious of watching it happen. And that consciousness doesn't feel like curse or gift. It feels like truth.